Thank you. Senator Cappiello, on your website, under immigration, you cover border security and immigration reform, but yet you make no mention of what you would do as a solution for, again, the estimated 12 to 14 million undocumented immigrants who work and raise families in the United States. Specifically, Senator, what do you see as a feasible solution to these 12 million people currently in this country?
Thank you. To follow up my last answer, I would start by looking at the guest worker program. Now, the President came up with this idea a number of years ago because look, we can all admit, there are farmers out west who need workers. There are restaurants in this area who need workers. There are contractors who need workers. But right now, we have a system in place where you have some contractors here in the city of Danbury who are hiring people legally, paying workers' compensation costs, paying unemployment compensation costs, paying insurance costs, paying taxes on the workers, and other people who are hiring people illegally and undercutting those workers. Now, on the state level, I was able to pass a bill last year that targeted this specific issue to make sure that contractors weren't hiring people illegally to avoid paying all those costs, to set up a system of fairness. And the Department of Labor is now enforcing that law. But the guest worker program is the best way to deal with this situation of our labor shortage. But I still come back to, sometimes people say 12 million, some say 14 million, as the Congressman did a couple of nights ago, in another debate, some say 20 million. People who are here illegally, we simply cannot just say, I'm giving you amnesty and you will become a citizen. If you pay $5,000 or $10,000, if you've lived here for 3 years, you might get this amnesty. If you lived here 5 years, you get that. It's not fair to those that are fighting to come here legally. It's not fair to those who came here legally. So I look to the guest worker program, but I will say it here, the Congressman can say it's baiting, but I will not support amnesty, and we have to secure our borders. The Congressman is right. More money is spent on border security, but he voted to take money away from border security. That simply isn't right.
Well, let me give you the facts. Let me give you the numbers. You can, listen to accusations, or you can actually look to see what's happened. In the last 2 years, 5,200 new border officers have been authorized. $2.3 billion in new money for additional fencing. Those are real numbers. You can look them up. They're there. They're real. And I think it's an important step forward on what has to be that first step in securing this country. This is about national security. And we still have a long way to go. But again, we're not going to get there. For all of Senator Cappiello's talk about bipartisanship, we're not going to get there if people aren't willing to try to bridge the divide that divides this entire country. And I think it's a shame that we have allowed this divide to fester for so long, because this country should be proud of our history of immigration, what makes us so strong as a nation, that we've been able to bring in Senator Cappiello's ancestors, my ancestors, to construct a great nation out of it. I think that the way in which we address this issue, by sort of taking out the demagoguery and the sound bites and trying to really get down to how we solve it, could be a celebration of what is great about this nation. I know there are all sorts of things to be against. I think there are all sorts of things to be angry about. But to me, immigration reform is one of those examples in which we can step forward and try to find a path that reminds us of why we love this country so much in the long run. We have to also ask the question of why do we have a system and an economy now that demands all of this labor from abroad? Senator Cappiello talks about a guest worker program. I would rather acknowledge that we have a labor need that we need to fill and allow for the appropriate immigration to fill it. Instead of creating a subclass of workers that will come here only for a period of time and then have to be sent back, won't enjoy the rights that other workers have, let's acknowledge that we need to bring potentially more people to this country from all over the world and allow that to happen. I think if we do that, if we can sensibly sit down and try to resolve this issue, we'll be proud to be a country of immigrants and be reminded why we've been so proud for 200 years.
3-second.
Congressman Murphy, I am proud to be ancestor, the grandson of legal Italian and Lebanese immigrants. I am so proud. But the word legal is important here. It's very important. I come back to the fact that we are a nation of laws. Those numbers may be correct, But guess what? You still voted to lower those numbers. You voted to gut our border security. You cannot deny that. There are votes on the House floor where you did that. And we can deal with this issue compassionately. But Ronald Reagan, one of my political heroes, tried amnesty in 1986, but then they didn't secure our borders. That was a little over 1 million illegal immigrants. Now we have over 12 million.